All right, friends, Zig coming in on top. Today on the show, we have Eliy Orcko. This would be the third time Eli's been on the show. And every time, this guy, Eliy, is nonstop. He's one of every time we hang out, it's always a good conversation. Even if it's just before and after a show and in passing, it just always gets deep. A very thought provoking individual. Eli's got a new album that's coming out October 2nd, Idiot. And as a fan of his work and as a friend, this record I think is one of his best works yet. Now he showed me some stuff after the interview, and what's coming after this is going to be equally as dope. Also, October 2nd, there's a release show at Mahal's, and it's going to be a remake of the band that's on the record with some local blank slate friends. It's always good to catch up with Eliy. This time we met up in person. It is cool because this will be the second in-person interview since everything. And we went over to his place, and he lives in a building that was a school but now is an apartment complex. And, like, it's the craziest thing because I went from a school to a school. And, like, you're walking down these halls, and they got lockers with locks on it. But they're all, like, apartments. It's pretty dope. And we did the thing. We hung out. We talked about the record. We talked about what's been going on because it's been a while since we last seen each other. The last time I seen Eliy was the Dog for Diego show. He came in clutched and helped perform for that and helped spread the word. And then we hung out for like and 45 minutes or an hour or something like that in the parking lot as he showed me tracks which are now the album Idiot. So yeah, with that being said, I think we're going to jump right into it. If you guys can like, rate, subscribe, and review the podcast on all the podcast platforms, it helps me keep talking to amazing guests like Eliy and sharing their insights with you. And here we go, Eliy Orcko, Part 3. Damn, so if we take this maybe a year ago?
Yeah, yeah.
It was your release show.
For Party With My Demons 2 at Plymouth House.
At Plymouth House.
Yep.
And Chicago is shutting down.
Yep.
Locking people in. And your friend couldn't get out.
Yeah.
And now you're going there tomorrow?
Yeah.
So what's going on?
I'm playing DZ Fest with my new band. It's like a backing band basically for my new album. And yeah, it'll be nice to go out to Chicago again. I've just been like real focused on getting everything together for this album, but it's nice to like go there and actually see Chicago again after
Yeah.
it's been a while. So yeah.
When was the last time you were there?
The last time that we talked about me going there before this.
Okay, because, I didn't know you were going. Well, because your friend was coming in. That's what brought up the whole thing.
Yeah, Joshua Virtue was coming, and then I had a show at the Hideout in Chicago.
Okay.
With Davis the Dorchester Bully and Vagabond Maurice, which are two like great friends of mine. And Joshua Virtue and Davis are on the same Y Records label, so yeah, it's just like a dope thing. It's like to just be connected with that family.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, it's cool. It's cool that now it can happen, and no one's gonna get locked in.
Oh yeah.
So with the backing band, who's in the band?
My homie Joey from False Teeth, Cameron from King Boo, the guitarist, Mookie. His artist name is Mookie. This is Gabe, and Nate. He plays drums.
Okay.
Mookie plays sax and guitar, and then Joey plays bass and trumpet, and Cameron's like the dedicated guitarist.
Sick.
And then I have like a fill-in guitarist, which is like Danny
Shipley?
Yeah, I believe so,
Yeah, yeah. The reason I know that because he's been coming to my mic nights, and I saw he posted a video of him playing with you, and I was like, oh, is Danny playing with Eliy? What? Cool.
He's going to be doing the release party with me, yeah.
Okay.
So,
where's that at?
Mahal's October 2nd.
Mahal's at, nice.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I know I'll get the headline again.
That's sweet.
It'll be fun.
You just played the B spot, right?
Yeah, B-Side Arcade.
B-Side. How was that?
It was Different. It was nice. We just like there's like a couple of videos. I'm terrible at posting these days just because like
Yeah.
my mind is everywhere. But yeah, we it was just a vibe. Like we just sat there. I literally like positioned that picnic table back there just to
Okay.
like so me and like Gabe could sit there and Gabe could play guitar and I could like do the vocals and then like somebody spilled water on my laptop.
Oh, that's fried.
So I had to improv an entire set. So everybody that was there that night got to see just me and Joey and the drummer for the opening act. Just improv a bunch of songs and it was pretty good. People like the songs and stuff, so it was a good time.
That sounds like a very positive twist on like, oh fuck, they fucked up my laptop. Like,
yeah, it's my life is like so many like fuck situations. Like as I get older, it's more just like instead of being like woe is me, it's just
Yeah.
like all right, what are we gonna do?
that's important. I think
So,
that's
yeah. I just try to keep that attitude every time I get hit with something. It's just like all right, let's keep it going, especially with shows, because like
yeah.
whether it's a free show or people buying tickets, like people came out for a good time and being an artist like that's or an entertainer predominantly, it's like the biggest part of my job is to make sure I'm not fucking up the energy because I feel off. So yeah,
That's important because that's who's coming to see it, and that's the takeaway. Oh well, that guy's kind of a bummer. Or, oh, that guy was over. He was pretty crazy. Maybe I'll come back. Yeah, and it's hard to keep that mindset when knowing you doing as much as you do and kind of being in the same spot a little bit for my agenda of things. Like, it's like you're balancing. I got to book, I got to manage, I got to promote, I got to like figure out all the ins and outs. And if you don't know that one thing, the bass player's like, dude, how come you didn't look in the parking? And you're like, that's the last thing I thought of. We got to the gig, right? And like at the same time, well, did you notice that post got shared by blank? And you're running all this gambit of different things. So it's really hard to keep that mindset, especially when it comes time to perform. Because like that's the 2%. 2% of the whole music end of things is the actual playing of music.
yeah, it's like this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the 2% because it's literally like the smallest thing. When it comes down to it, like I can sit here and like I have tons of songs, like I got features with people, I've got tons of stuff on my laptop, but they haven't seen the light of day just because like this album has taken so much of my time on the back end to get everything going the way I want it to be.
Right.
So it's just like I have a ridiculous back catalog of music because music has just become the smallest part of my like I don't know, just in being who I am or what I am.
Mm.
It's just like the it's like my little bit of peace. So when I like actually get into the groove again, and then it's like all right, back out into the world, and I gotta do my 1-2 and figure stuff out. But yeah, I just feel like the biggest thing is just making sure that you remember, like, you always want to get back to that center where it's like, okay, I'm creating. But first I have to be heard if that's what you're doing it for. And it just
Right.
depends on, how you want your career to go. I just put a lot of pressure on myself. So that's just a part of it. I just can't let it get to me. So yeah.
Well, man, I don't know if I know anyone more driven than you. Like when it comes to, and what's where I'm looking for, PMA. Every time we've got into it, I leave hyped up. And like, it's from bits like this. And it's showing, man, because this new record is fucking insane. It's so fucking good. Not to put down, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of your work, man. I'm a fan of for the listeners, they can totally hear what that was. That was a wristband coming off, but now that requires an explanation, like, because that's a show wristband for sure.
No, well, I had a show wristband. I don't know if this one is still from a show.
Oh, okay.
This one was, oh yeah, I went to Oktoberfest.
Oh, okay.
With some friends. And then the other show wristband. Let's see. Mookie had a release show at the Rock Hall.
That's sick. Was it the outdoor thing?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, I've been at a lot of shows lately, but I'm usually. Oh, and then there was
Oh, there's another band.
yeah. Was it Hula Gang? Shout out to. Oh God, this is so many fucking.
You're good.
people in my
You're
head.
good. But to go back to my point, this record fucking rocks, man. And I'm a fan of Eliy all the way up. Like, and this record is like a whole nother thing. And with as exhausted as you seem trying to get it out, it's definitely worth it because that much work went into it, and like because it hits differently than anything else you ever done. So that I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like it sounds like there's a back catalog just like simmering, waiting for a moment to be shared. But like this one in particular, it's I remember our conversation after Dog for Diego,
Mm-hmm.
and you were telling me how you're getting into guitar,
Mm-hmm.
and I see an acoustic guitar right there. Is that the guitar you've been getting into?
Nah. I have this. What is it called? A Fender in my trunk.
Yeah.
That I like practice on. And yeah, it's like that's like my main one. I've just been moving, so it's like a whole thing. But yeah.
What opened that door? What made that like?
I've always like I don't know like what was it? I was like 13 when I like started getting into like live music. It was like back to like when I first like one where it was like me, you, and Tinder Slap. Um, and we were talking about me entering like my entrance into the punk scene. Um, and I was like, it's too many strings on guitar. And then homie was just like, play bass. And I was like, all right, cool. And yeah, then I just started playing bass, and life got in the way, and I became a front man. And I don't know, I felt myself more comfortable being like a front man and a vocalist in general. So I like gave up bass and then was like, all right, let's just be the most outlandish one in the band and then draw the attention. So yeah, that's where all the fights and everything is. Yeah.
So maybe the bass could have helped. There would have been a barrier.
Yeah, but then I would have been in even more trouble.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. You'd be out of bass.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I've ran through some basses too.
Yeah?
Yeah. I had an Ibanez. God, let me think. Oh God, I'm thinking about this now because technically I stole it from the guitarist in 8 Gauge Drive By. But like it was my living situations were so like weird
Yeah.
growing up. So it was just like I was in Ohio, I was in Florida, and I was in Ohio again, I was in Florida again. So it was just like that back and forth. I got lost in translation somewhere, and then consistently trying to be a musician while I was jumping back and forth between the two states in my youth. It was like a weird thing.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
you can't, it's hard. It's hard enough. Like even here, like I've been doing music for a long time, and like I have like a general knowledge of this Northeast Ohio area.
Mm-hmm.
But when you try to put yourself somewhere else, even like knowing the keywords to look for, like if I wanted to look for a gig or a mic, or what fill in the blank, knowing some of the terms only came from being in this area for so long and learning how this little segment of it works. But if you're jumping back and forth like that, it sounds like you never get a real chance to kind of figure out how the things work and all the different facets of it. You know what I mean? Like,
I think Florida. So like, and once again, I was literally like the least contributing member outside of attention,
Yeah.
in my band or bands because I was known to like band hop a lot too because of that.
you're moving, yeah.
Yeah, but just extremely problematic kid, and it was like I didn't really give a fuck about the inner workings of things. It would just be like someone would be like, "Oh, we're doing this." I was like, "Oh, you should put me and my band on." Blah 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 blah. Blah. And then they'd be like, "Oh, you're in a band." I'm like, "Yeah." And then they'd be like, "Whoa, what do you rap or something?" I'm like, "No, I don't fucking rap." Like,
Yeah.
and then which is it's still just a crazy thing. But yeah, like people used to always think I was a rapper. But I was like, no, I don't fuck up. But it was because I was black.
Yeah.
And like I was like predominantly hanging around the hardcore punk and metal scenes, so it was just like this black dude does music, but I don't see him like I see him with a bunch of other people, and he's always with different other bands and shit like that. So it's like, what the fuck does he do? And it's just like,
Right.
oh yeah, no, I'm with such and such and such and such. And then yeah, it was like, oh, I'm working on this new project, and always it was like be something. I'm working on this new project. We gotta do blah blah blah. And as music evolved too, like my taste in music started changing, and I was always just like, I want to do this and that and that, and just never like I would just get with a couple people, and I'd be like, I'm not feeling this, because I always felt like it should be something that I can take away from and be like, I can do this.
Mm.
I think that was like looking back at it. I think that's what I was looking for, like my home thing that was like, this is me. Because no matter how many people would sit me down and be like, all right, we're gonna do, we're gonna write. I'd be like, I don't need to write. I don't need to write. Blah blah blah. Like the
Yeah.
same thing like all the kids say now that want to be rappers and stuff. Like it's just like, and like my band, like after practices and stuff, they're like, oh wait, no, you don't have to write stuff. Um, it's like, yeah, but I prefer the practice of it because I
Right.
can like make songs like that, but it's like, yeah, just I don't know. I just like I guess like because people be like, oh, does it come from freestyling all the time? But it was like, no, I like was just I was a hungry kid that wanted to be involved in something that I saw a lot of people and a lot of people that made a positive aspect of my life um, involved in, and I wanted to be a part of it. So it was like, I don't need any lyrics. I don't need any lyrics. I wrote poetry, and I would like have ideas, and then I'd just be like, okay, I'd hear the stuff, and then I'd focus on one part, and I'd like try to make sure the other person was hearing me, and then we'd build off of each other, which is kind of how I do things with my band now too. I'd be like, yo, do this, but um, yeah, this project though, it's like more structured. It is a far more structured um, project out of everything for me.
All right.
So, yeah.
Well, in narratively, I feel like there's a narrative through it. Um, but I guess the reason I brought up the guitar is because this record, in compare, not that I'm a fan of everything that came before, but this one is much more. It's much more like melodic in the sense of the hooks and stuff. Um, and I wonder, is that from picking back up the guitar and writing music that way? 'Cause I remember told me you were sending ideas to a friend.
Yeah, my friend Nick is the one that's playing guitar on everything.
Right.
Or Nico, Rosie, um, like he's the lead producer for everything. So like when it came down to the brass tacks, like we started this 2 years ago. They were just concepts, and me and him were just bullshitting about like surfing and just old shit in my past life.
Yeah.
My past
You
life.
surfed?
I used to surf.
That's awesome.
I just love skating. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was like skating, surfing, shows, being in a pit, like stuff I don't do now. But yeah, I just lived a very out there life. I didn't
Right.
really care much about what anything meant. I just like doing things.
Right.
And I feel like it's something I'm starting to get back into the habit of, which has its good and bad. But everything is just a moment where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go outside today, especially like in my point in that point in my life, because like it would just be days where just like if I go outside, I'm gonna end up in a fight, or I used to like get in trouble all the time. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, we
I'd just be
definitely.
like, how do I stay out of trouble? Like, how do I not get involved with the police? How do I not get into a fight today? How do I not end up in the office at school? How do I get to school without fighting somebody in the morning when I leave my apartment? Just like, yeah, it's just a hostile environment for me because it was just like, one, I was always different. Two, I was loud as fuck. And three, it was just like, I mean, it's Florida.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
a lot going
Florida's
on.
crazy, man. Like, but yeah, so through doing all these different things, that's how you like avoided it, which makes so now it just became like a way to find that thing to do, right? Are we going live?
Yeah, I was like, well, since we can't do the one thing.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Um,
Two guys talking in the dark.
oh yeah, cutting deep, nah.
Cutting deep.
But nah, there's a. Oh, by the way, have you ever had mead before?
Mead.
Yeah.
No.
So it's
But it's like it's it's alcohol,
Yeah,
right?
it's fermented
Okay.
honey. Do you drink it?
No, I don't.
Okay, that's okay. I was like, oh wait a second. Now that we were talking about this, I don't think we have. But yeah, I got.
But it's
mead.
what Vikings drink.
Yeah,
Mead.
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 It's in Skyrim.
Yeah, yeah. You got to be a pirate or a Viking.
Yeah. Recently gotten into mead, but
Interesting. All right.
yeah, it just triggered in my head because like, oh, you're in my place. I'm like, oh yeah, mead is a thing.
If you want to, man, go for it. Like, if that was where that was gonna go.
Oh, I was gonna be yeah, if you wanted to try it. Well, even after this, I was like, oh, if you want to try it. But yeah, no, I forgot. Yeah, alcohol.
It's,
Yeah.
it's all right. I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
But yeah, we were talking about.
Florida being fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's a. I went home recently.
Yeah.
Saw my stepdad. I saw like old friends. I like reconnected with like a lot of things, and like going there made sense about the person that I am to me.
Okay.
But it also made me realize a lot of things that I had shedded by living in Ohio.
I
Um,
think we kind of talked about this a little bit after that Diego show. And
oh yeah,
I don't remember if maybe you just got back from Florida or you were going to, but like I think that's it. That's like a show. It shows growth, like to yourself, because you're put back in that environment, which would potentially be fights, and like you know what I mean. Like from what I understand from our last two conversations, at least recorded conversations, so that like step back there and see that you're moved from those like kind of triggers that would exhibit that behavior. Is that like what was kind of like the key takeaway from that? Like what was like, oh, I can do this and not have to worry. Like what were those key signs of growth? I guess is what I'm asking.
like in that moment when I was visiting as an
Yeah,
adult.
yeah.
Um, this girl had passed by. I was sitting at a Jamba Juice, with like
With mead.
no, actually, I was sitting with a childhood friend, Christian, and his wife, which is crazy. I think we
Right?
talked about this too.
Maybe I don't remember, but
So
let's
like,
rehash that.
dude lived like, or not lived, but dude worked down the street from me when I was running the store in Sandusky.
Okay.
He was working down the street from me the whole time. I didn't see him for years.
Yeah.
And he was working down the street from me. And then we talked about it when I was down there because he was moving back the same time I was visiting. So
Right.
it, like very serendipitous, like how it all came together. And he was like, "Oh, I was at the Grey Wolf Lounge. I was doing security down there." And I was like, "I was at the mall in Sandusky, like right now." I was like, "I used to pass that all the time." Yo, that's crazy. But I guess that also shows me how detached I am from social media, where I don't really use it personally. I just use it for
Right.
music. But
Do you find that more comforting?
that I don't have a
Okay.
personal life.
No, no, that's you do. It's just like it's not publicly other people's. It's your personal life.
Right. I've been trying to develop my personal life a little bit better, but I think I've like stunted my growth in that department by being so business minded all the time.
Okay. I
Um,
relate to that a lot.
so
Like maybe I'm seeking advice at that point, like because so much I say yes to so much stuff, and like I've been attempting so many different things, and it's all music based, you know,
Mhm.
to some degree. That's how we met, you know. And here we are doing the same thing, talking about what we're doing musically,
Yeah.
but like so much of that gets funneled through that. Like this is the thing I want to do, and at one point, at least for me, at one point it was like, oh, it's determination, it's self-drive, and you got to keep going. You get that eventually that wheel loses the friction or whatever, and it just keeps spinning and all the time. And like when it even to the point where like, cool, I have a day off. I'll just read a comic that I bought, and you're like, what am I doing reading this comic? I should be writing.
Yeah, it's like
Or-
it's not gonna do anything for me like in the long run. Why am I doing this?
Right, right. But it's so I don't know. I don't like. It's also okay to be there in that moment and be like, dude, I want to know what the Ninja Turtles are up to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like me with video games and stuff. I'll like be um I think I think this is like a bad trait as well, because escapism is a thing. I think in healthy doses it is, but I think I like use escapism to like its fullest extent with video games, just because like if I'm dealing with something, I'll like shut down, not talk to anybody, not do any music or anything,
Yeah.
and I'll just like fall into like whatever I'm into. Like with that, I'll play like an RPG and then just like have a whole nother life, like in a video game for like 2 days, and then come back and just get back to work.
gotcha.
Um,
And address the thing, or
I'll just be like, all right, I'm good. Then,
Okay.
yeah, because I'll like not even worry. Like whatever was bothering me, I'd like made a bunch of gold in some video game or something. So or caps in Fallout or something. So it was just like, yo, we're good.
gotcha. And but that type of escapism isn't like that. Doesn't sound detrimental. That's not like avoiding personal relationships, and then what I mean. Like that sounds like taking a break from a thing and then allowing that. Because sometimes if you step away from a problem, your unconscious kind of finds a way to resolve it, and then when you come back to it, since you've stepped away, it's like easier to figure out. Like I've talked to some people that have found, like, at least going back to like the writing, like some people have found if they get stuck writing a song or a poem or whatever, or just a narrative and don't know where to take it, they go to bed and wake up, and when they come back, it's easier to figure out that thing because it's been floating around in the subconscious, but they haven't been consciously approaching it.
Yeah, before I like started plotting, figuring out what it is I wanted to do, I used to just be like, fuck it, and I would like go to a different city, or like
Mm.
I would find something new that I haven't done, and I would just like fuck off for a period of time for as long as I could that was feasible, and then um, come back and write a project, or uh, get back into the swing of things.
Yeah.
And that would be like how I would balance myself out. Where now I think I'm aiming for stability. I think is what I'm trying to do.
Okay.
That's not my like grand goal, but it's like I think that's my bottom line, is to remain stable and stick to something for once, instead of just being like, fuck it, and then just keep it rolling.
Okay.
Um,
Well, you've come from bouncing from state to state.
yeah.
You know, how do you even find a state of mind when you can't find a state to live in?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the concept of home like eludes me like a motherfucker. Like I'll sit there and be like, like nothing really matters. Like I could be I could be
Yeah.
anywhere. It doesn't matter. I'm still me everywhere I go. I can like make close associates, and I can get into any scene as long as I like am tenacious enough to like get everything together. So it was just like I didn't really care, but like now I'm like, all right, let's try to like, what is my energy being put forth in Cleveland look like? And then if I don't like it, I'll just fucking like move to Maine or some shit. I don't fucking know. But
Are you looking into Maine? That seems like a targeted thing. Yeah.
I like Maine.
Yeah?
Like the idea of Maine. I've never been there. I just, in my head, I just think of like,
Do you like Dunkin' Donuts?
nah.
Well, they got a shit ton in
fucking
Maine.
hate Dunkin' Donuts.
Me too.
Hate it. Like
They got
literally-
way more.
Oh god, no! Like I think of like
Yeah, I know. That's
like trees and
Yeah.
like a beach, like, and I mean like evergreen, like big ass like forest type beat trees, and
Yeah.
like a beach, like just some chill ass shit where I could just like not matter and not care about a bunch of stuff. But going back to what we were originally talking about was like what I noticed, fuck, like no, like it's just a crazy ass thing. There was a girl that walked by,
yeah.
and I knew what shoes they were, but I just had to be sure. And I was like, "Are those Balenciaga?" And she's like, "Yeah," and they're just dirty. Like she just threw on some stuff, and I could just tell her outfit was like at least over $3,000. And
Damn.
it was
Yeah.
just like a top, some like loose fit, like almost sweats, and those shoes.
Right.
I mean, like just by looking at her, I can tell she's wearing more than $3,000 right now.
Jeez.
But that's the environment. Like, that's
Yeah.
one part of the environment that I came from. Where the other half is like, extreme poverty, or like the middle class, or the lower middle class, or the damn near okay, in the next like 5 years I'm gonna have millions to my name, upper middle class. Like the ground is so strange, and like where you're at, like there's people struggling all the time. You have people who fuck up $1,300 shoes and just like walk around and hang out. But then as I'm I had like a brief conversation, and she went off to go to this little thing off to the side. I just realized I used to hang around people, like as my life got better and I got older, I used to hang around people like that.
Yeah.
And there was a point in my life where like I cared about things like that, where it was like not so much the price tag, but just the statement of like what this is, like brands to that extent. And I used to like look for like, cause another one of my side hustles was like I would find like vans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I would just sell them to my friends and stuff for skate shoes. And I'd find them at like Ross, or I'd go thrifting and I'd find them and I'd sell them for like $60, or like if it was like one of my close friends from like the block, I'd be like, oh yeah, just give me like 20, $30,
Right.
and I'll give you these. So I found them for like $10, $15. But yeah, like if it was one of my friends from like um, closer to like Terravella and stuff like that, I'd be like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Or in the Parkland area, or like out in Lauderdale, I'd be like, yo, yeah, I can sell you these ones, like they're brand new. Boom, $60 in my pocket for a pair of $15 shoes I had. And I'd move like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, and it was a good little thing, and I'd get my money up and I'd spend that money on like just dumb shit that I'd end up like tearing up because I was skating it too, or I'd go
Right.
surfing and
Right.
I'd go in the pit and my shirt's ripped or whatever. Like my lifestyle, like the way I was living versus the things that I liked at a point, it was pure chaos for me. But it made sense because I was just like, oh fuck it, I'll buy another one.
Right.
And I was like one of the few kids who could be like, oh yeah, I'm making this by myself. And it's like without like, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's, just to be able to say that, how many kids can say that they are making it by themselves? And I get it though. So now it's not seeing the value of the brand in the sense that this chick was rocking all this like kind of like higher, like more expensive stuff, but it was like seeing it as who she is kind of, or seeing it where you are with that, where you're like, I don't care about the statement you're making by wearing that.
I didn't look at, that was the thing. I didn't look at,
Oh,
it
okay.
it hit me. It was
Yeah.
just like, the fact that I had this lifestyle so ingrained in me that as an adult I can look at like a design in something and be like,
Yeah.
that was made by blah 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 blah, and that was made by that person, and,
Yeah.
and those are definitely Balenciagas. Like, and then be like, but like my day to day life, I never think about those things, but just naturally like, oh, those are, and she's like, oh yeah, and like we like had a little chat for a second, and I was just like, fuck, why do I know this? And they didn't really mean that much to me then, but I guess it was just like, it was so natural, I guess, like that, like I said, it's a weird thing to describe because it was like, it meant a lot because it was like at the core foundation of who I was. I would like be like, okay, I had learned to dress for the occasion after a while. But it was like, all right, going to a show, cut offs and a tank top.
Yeah, yeah.
Or, hoodie because it's about to get, a little chilly at night.
And those can get ripped up.
But it's whatever. But then it's just like, oh, okay, let me buy this. So yeah.
We got any people joining us on the live?
Oh yeah, there was a couple. I just been focusing on the actual thing. But yeah, it was
Sick.
a matter of it was my bassist that just joined. He's like, hey,
All right, let's trash the bass player right now. Man, all the time.
let's see.
I'm just kidding.
Joey loves to speak for me all the time.
All the time. There you go. Just always
yeah.
cutting in when ordering
it's-
shit.
I let him though. He'll be like, oh, well, Eli, I'll be like, I'll fuck off somewhere, and then it'll be.
Sick.
Yeah.
Sick. No, that's
It's like,
awesome.
Joey can talk to me whenever it's fine. They talk for me whenever it's fine. Really don't like my time for speaking is on stage, and then from there I just fuck off.
Gotcha.
But yeah, no, it was a culture shock to realize how engrossed I was into like these material things.
Yeah.
Naturally, and then be like, now where I'm just like, I can appreciate the beauty in something, in a person or like just like an aesthetic, and be like, yo, this is wonderful. This is great.
Right.
I see the value in this for what it is. Where then everything was kind of fleeting. And I mean, I'm just speaking in retrospect, I guess, because it's just like what I'm thinking back on. Because like I said, back then, literally, it was just like, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah. What's the move today? Boom. Like, I'll just be caught up in it. But now I'm a little bit more calculative in my like ongoings.
Right. Well, in the sense of finding stability, you know what I mean? Those, like, it feels like, I shouldn't say, I think it's those brand ideas, right, are kind of in a way, when we're younger, those stick out more. You know, that marketing really fucking works. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Just even thinking like the cartoons and shit you'd watch as a kid, like that stuff really is ingrained into society. And like being able to find the value in something like that more so right away. And I'm saying just I'm trying to that perspective. I mean that's profound to realize that I know what that is, but it doesn't mean as much to me as it did before. Like it's not as you. It seems like the knowledge is there just from being aware of it. But the fact, like, so that's a super amazing like show of growth. From that, not finding like or realizing there's more value in other things, like, but like the related to like the kids I see every day and work with, like, and they're like, oh, blah blah blah. As soon as you bring up a brand, like I showed a video, I can't remember what. Usually I'll start off my class with a video to get everyone's attention on a thing.
Yeah.
And it might have been like Davey 504 or something interesting enough for kids and musically enough. And there was a Jimmy John's bag, and like, oh, I know what it was. It was a cat going in a bag and falling off the table because it's funny. But like, it was a Jimmy John's bag, and all the kids are like, Jimmy John's. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah,
fuck, branding works.
Yeah, branding is a whole
Like,
thing. Yeah.
But but I think slowly as we get older and we realize, oh, it's branding, and I'm not Dave who likes Jimmy John. I'm Dave who likes sandwiches. I'm Dave who likes sandwiches with cheese. Slowly you figure out these bits about you that isn't just the brand of a thing. Oh, I don't like McDonald's. I like French fries. I don't like French fries. I like just potatoes fried up. You know what I mean? Like it slowly gets to like the core of the thing, whatever it is.
Yeah, like every time I try a new place and like if I don't know what I want off the menu, I'll just ask the person taking my order. I'll be like, what do you usually get? And like there's some people who hate that I do this.
I know.
There's some people that, whatever. And like some people like especially and I get it, but like there's female servers and stuff. Like, oh, what do you usually get? They probably thinking like I'm trying to like get an in, but literally I don't care. Like especially like I like food.
Right.
That's what I've narrowed. Like when you're like breaking it down, I was like, I like eating.
Eating's great.
Yeah. So it's like, what does this person get? Let's see what they like. Cause I really don't give a fuck at the end of the day. They're like, oh, well, I usually get this. I'm like, cool, let's try that. And then I'll try it. And then if it's for me, cool, I've found something new. And then I'll branch off into other things. I try not to eat the same thing twice unless it's really good. But I'll only eat it twice. And then I'll try the other things on the menu unless I go there habitually, which I rarely do. I like to mix things up a little bit. I do like the easy go-to things. Like you got to know, like especially going on tour and stuff. It's like, okay, Sheets.
Right. Sheets, Wawa, the Get Go. I don't think that's out of Ohio though, right?
Yeah.
Maybe PA. Maybe that might be.
I was gonna say it's like there's some in the Midwest. I think it's out east though. But yeah, like that. But like in your day-to-day life, Denny's is so like there was a moment where it was just Denny's was like the lifeblood for me. Just like being like, all right, after the show, going to Denny's.
What up, Denny's?
What the fuck is up, Denny's?
Oh man, that. On a side note and side tangent, that seems like a band that would play at Blank Slate next. Whatever that hardcore would be, I would hope.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I'd open up for them for sure.
Fuck yeah. Yes. I'd make shift a band and be called the Grand Slam to open up for the What Up Denny's band.
Yeah, I would like, yo, bro, there's a hardcore band opened up. I don't have a band with y'all. I just want to like piece some shit together. Like, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, I might start doing that too. And be like, yo, I got this new band. People are like, all right, what's your name? Yeah.
Yeah?
What do you call it? Yeah. Where the yeahs?
Whoa, do you know the yes? No. Yeah. You just keep it going. Yes. It just every time it gets one thing longer.
Yeah, let's just add another yeah to it.
But the kind of sorry, I cut you off.
No, you're good. I mean, yeah, we're probably supposed to be talking about my album.
No, like, we're here to talk about whatever, man. This is a catch up, and like, dude, whatever tangent we go on, it always has like a PMA twist, and I love that. I love how, like, but to kind of go back to the album, so Idiot, the title makes me think of The Idiot from Iggy Pop. And like, I don't know, my voice just popped when I said Iggy Pop. That was cool. Iggy Pop. Makes it pop. But like, but yeah, so and it's kind of a blank slate band. Like the band you have with you, is that everyone that recorded, or is the live band different personnel than the actual personnel on the tracks?
No. This is it's literally just different people. Like literally the Soul Food Horns Collective, like a constant collaborator.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's a group of people that none of the band members that I have for live stuff played on the actual album.
Okay.
I have like plans to do something like that, but I just have to like get through this album first.
Right.
Yeah, this album was a lot to bite off, but I'm like at the end of it, so like
So-
at least with release.
Yeah. So what's the holdup? Is it just like the putting it out? Everything seems to be recorded.
Yeah,
Is the
everything's set. It's all like everything's ready to go. It's just
waiting for it.
yeah,
Waiting for the drop
just
date.
getting it out now.
Okay.
Yeah, the stuff with the beer and the other like release.
So yeah, what is that? Is that what got you in the mead?
No, I've
Okay.
been into mead. What's it called? Someone I've been like seeing. I told the other day. I was like, because was it Western Reserve Brewery
Okay.
or Meadery? Sorry. Literally was on my way back home to my commute from work for like month. Like it's just been there,
Right.
and like I've been telling people like, oh, I'm gonna go there. Blah, 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 I'm gonna go try it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then I finally like had the time to go, and it was right there. It was literally just on. Like I could have went this whole time. Like as soon as I got off work, I could have went and grabbed a bottle, and I was so like just like fuck. Like I just never took the time to like really look where it was at.
Right.
And then, but yeah, I think like yeah, it's just where I'm at now. I did that, but no, like this beer, it's a shandy. God, it comes from that thing like with the video game.
Yeah.
It's just like I have this thing, and this also correlates to another like what we were talking about with me, like my what's instilled in me from growing up where I'm from.
Right.
I have a very I don't want to say pompous, but in my head, you are absolutely nobody until you do something great, and then everyone has to know. And I'm not as vocal about it as I was when I was younger, but I realized that I still keep that mentality, and which is why I work so hard.
Okay.
So like greatness comes in all forms, but my idea of greatness is to be like the best like versatile public figure. And I was like realizing what this I never really was able to piece together all these moving parts until recently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like being like a very personable and relatable public figure. And like in like exploring the meaning of that, I was like, well, what is it that draws me or what connects me to people? What is something that I enjoy? What's something I can attach myself to, as well as my music that I'm passionate about that makes sense in that experience?
Right.
And I was like, oh, did merch. All right. Tried a video game. Because, you know, it's in everybody's pocket. You know, phones are in everybody's pocket. If I have an app, it's good to go. I just like sat and I thought, I was like, okay, what is at a venue? And like, I was like, oh, there's lights. Like, I just thought of like dumb stuff, like lights, chairs, fucking sound. Oh, we've got music. That doesn't make sense. I'm already bringing sound. I was like, what is? I was like, alcohol.
Yeah.
Alcohol is at a predominant, like, alcohol is something that a lot of people look for at a venue.
Right.
Alcohol is something, but not only a venue, because I need to go that step further to be incorporated in your life. So it was like, okay, alcohol is at the show. Could also get it outside of the show. What is something that people can interact with
aside
that
from the
is
music?
attached to me, aside
Right.
from music, that could be involved in someone's daily life? Alcohol. And yeah, I had like contacted breweries, and then I was doing a podcast like this. I was talking to Vinny, the marketing director and stuff, and telling him about like my experience and where I'm at that point.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, well, you know, I work with a brewery. Once you come by, you know, you can see your pitch and blah, blah, blah. And I like pitched it. Yeah, they took it. And I was like, cool.
Nice.
and it's in Elyria, which is my hometown. So
Right.
it's like
What's
I
so is so now there's a signature Eli brew, or what's the
yeah, it's called
is it called the idiot can? Like
no
like do you got it?
no, I have the hold on for a second. I can pull it up on the
Okay.
laptop so you can see.
Alright.
But it's called a Shame Shandy.
Shame Shandy. Hell yeah.
After the song Shame on
Yeah,
the album.
yeah, yeah.
And it's a strawberry lime shandy.
Okay.
Blue. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
give them
Shame
stuff.
Shandy. That's I think one like that's the story of like pondering that. Like I really want the enlightenment to come. Okay. Perfect. That's badass. Nice. Nice. And that's also the album cover, right?
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
modified version of it for the
Right.
For the beer. So
Who does your art?
for this one is Cumulus Frisbee.
Okay. Because you always have like rad album covers and rad like just rad art on all your shit.
I'm hella grateful for like my listeners and just people that are involved in my culture, in my music. So like I usually like look into what other people are doing or stuff like that. I have a really vast network, so it like when I like reach out to people and I have like ideas for stuff, I keep it to a central theme, like put me in this dope shit that I got. And then it's like I want these expressions and I want it to be like this. And then I'll leave room for them to do their thing.
Right.
And it comes together beautifully. I think it's a big part to like commission somebody to do something, and then give them freedom as well. Like give them a general idea and then let them run with it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. Because like doing a couple, I do a little bit of multimedia stuff, a little bit of digital art, and doing one thing for a friend, like having those parameters, but not a clear thing, makes you can do something, but you also know what they want. So I think that's the perfect way to do it, just how you described it. Setting the size of the canvas and basically the color tones and letting someone figure it out and paint it on there.
Yeah, I think it helps that like I have somewhat of an idea for like how things work.
Right.
So-
Well, dabbling in everything, you're gonna. So the bounce. Okay, so that's all. So now there's a shandy.
Yeah.
That's so sick. Hey, and we were supposed to do this interview at the brewery, right?
Right, yeah.
All right. So this honestly probably worked better sonically, because like besides from the air conditioning, this is a good sounding room. You know what I mean? Like there's no clanking of beers or anything,
Right,
but
yeah.
visually would have been way cooler.
Oh yeah.
Visually
for
would have been
sure.
way cooler.
Yeah.
So one more time, the brewery,
Unplugged.
Unplugged Brewery.
Yep.
Okay. Shouts out to Unplugged.
Yep.
And when can you get the shanty? Like,
I'm gonna say for sure at Mahal's October 2nd.
Okay.
There will be.
have you tried it yet?
We're brewing it.
Okay,
That's
okay.
what today is. Yeah. So it was just like yeah. Between now and then, I'll try it, of course. But
Yeah.
it's just like getting everything together, packaging all that stuff, and brewing it, and then like adding the stuff. It's a process.
No, yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, everything's like laid out, so it's all good.
So at the Mahal show in
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
All right.
Who Saved Who, 10 Away, and Summer School.
All right. Hell yeah.
Love Summer School.
Was it so back to the idiot.
Yeah.
I can't say the idiot because I'm plugging another record. Idiot. Diving through the record, like the first thing I remember you showing me, and I remember this goes back to our Dog from Diego conversation, was Control.
It's been a minute since we spoke.
Yeah. And like that song's catchy as fuck. The horn line, how that all fits.
Oh, the
Like that slaps. And like everything's so woven together really nicely, like profoundly in this record. And that's why like when you sent me the I knew I was excited to do this and kind of get to hear the tracks beforehand. And I knew I was going to like that one. I didn't know the name of it then. I don't think you had a name for it either. But so I knew I was going to like what I was going to hear because that was my like intro. Because so did those ideas like melodically, was that a collaborative thing, or was this kind of where you're coming up with like chord progressions
It
and
was a
sending
back
it?
and forth thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like Control. Oh God. I think because these songs have like altered a lot in the final product.
Yeah.
Um,
Like altered
yeah,
live
like
since.
yeah, like no, they just well live too, but also like just the final product of them because like I think Away changed a lot from when I
Okay.
first showed you. Has like a liver and like has a far more live sound to it.
Right.
Um, and Control um hits better.
It hit then in the car. I was like, because we parked in front of your apartment
Oh
for
yeah.
like 40 minutes, and no, I was surprised. No one was like, ha, ha, what are you fucking doing? Get out of the way. But it was so good to catch up because that was like kind of mid-roll pandemic when I was doing the Doc for Diego thing, and you came through on like I think that was a Tuesday night, and like, I have something for you. Diego wrote notes to everybody. I have a note for you. It's in my car.
Okay, yeah, I was
It's in my
going to
car.
ask you about that too. Yeah.
Yeah, because I swore I told you about that, then I forgot. I got so many notes from this kid for all these bands, which is so cool. I don't know. He's such a cool kid. But on that, going back to it, so it's either way, it still hits. Like, it's such a good song.
Yeah, no, it was. Oh yeah, and then live, it's a whole other thing too. So.
I've seen the clips, like the Instagram clips,
Oh, for
or
us
like
playing and stuff.
yeah, and that's where I think I saw Danny. I was like, what? Danny's playing with? What?
I think Danny's like, see, yeah, Danny was sat in on a practice a couple times and was like, yeah, because he was curious because we were practicing in the building he lives in.
Oh, okay. Where was that?
In Tremont. It's not.
Okay.
It's not a build. I don't think it's got a name. I don't know it if it does.
All right.
But it's like off in the cut, near like a hospital. But yeah, we were practicing, and he was just curious. Like, he's like, "Who are these people making noise up there?" And then it's like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, Danny said he was like impressed with everything from what he heard.
Danny's
yeah.
cool. We run I host the Mike Night in Berea at the Front Street Social,
Yeah.
and he switches every other Wednesday. So I'll go, then he goes. I'll go, then he goes. Like he's doing. Wait till this Thursday. He did yesterday.
Yeah, he did yesterday. Yeah, he does. He invited me out a couple times too. And yeah, I like popped in. I'll like pop in and just check things out, and then I'll head out. Usually I show up like late, so by the time like I'm like very like, all right, if I say I'm gonna be out this time, I'm gonna be out this time.
Right.
Like unless I get caught up in something, then I'm like, all right. But
I feel it. I try to keep the pumpkin punctual. Like I try to, but when you get caught up with like people like I don't know, yeah, no, cool. Check the whatever. Like you gotta live for the moment too.
yeah.
And like but yeah, I don't know. You like jam nights? Do you like going to open mic nights? Is that like, or is it kind of like off-putting?
I did it in Blank Slate. I think it's like where I got, like I was able to. Blank Slate was a place I was definitely able to like refine my craft.
Yeah.
As a writer and also somebody who could just make stuff up. Especially like the 24-hour fest thing.
Right.
Just show up at like 12 o'clock, like show up at like midnight, and there's just like a couple people, and it's just like, yo, you play drums, yo, you play guitar, yo, you play bass, just make some shit up. And then I had like Eddie would even tell you like there was a night where it was like, all right, do these things, and then I was like, all right, now you get out of here, you do, and like you saw the evolution of a band like a course of years and like probably like 15 minutes. So I was like, all right, I don't like that, you get out of here, and then going from there.
Man, Blank Slate was magic. Eddie's magic. Like I think he definitely brought. You know what I mean? Like he brings that energy to it.
Oh yeah, Vinny's in there too.
Is he in there?
Yeah.
What up, Eddie?
Oh, Vinny. Not
Oh, Vinny. I thought you said Eddie. What up,
yeah.
Vinny? No, okay, now it's Trash Vinny. Okay. Let's just get people on live so we can record us trashing them after we bait them in by saying nice shit. But no, because I remember meeting Eddie beforehand and like hearing ideas for Blank Slate. And I'm sure we've talked about this in other interviews, but like I think it's important to like bring up how important that DIY scene is in that space where pure creativity is allotted, not just from 9 to 11, but like That sounded bad, but I meant for because Mike and I usually go from 9 to 11.
Oh no, I definitely get it.
But you know what I mean, like, because what? So Blank Slate is of no more, right? The physical space.
At the moment,
Yeah.
I don't think it's permanently that way. But at the moment, Blank Slate operates as like a web thing. It's
Right.
an influencer in that community in Illyria, which it needs.
Yeah.
So
That, that
I'm
was the
glad for that.
livelihood though of Illyria. There wasn't much.
I mean, there's things. I mean, especially like with the city being more supportive of like arts and stuff now.
Yeah.
I think this was a necessary step for Blank Slate to just influence that direction and create that
Mm.
narrative. So I think that was a good thing to come out of it, regardless of like, the negative repercussions of it.
Yeah.
It's not every day, but like the moments it happens, it gives people that opportunity. I've always felt like, being an artist in Illyria, I was always like, I gotta create opportunities and no opportunities.
Right.
Where like now you've got Garford Art Fest.
Okay.
You have the Third Thursdays thing happening.
What's
You've
that?
got, so like every other
Month.
every
Yeah.
month, the third Thursday of that month, there'll be live music in the square. We played there.
Oh, okay.
Me and the live band played there, one night. And it gives us something, like it gives artists something to look forward to in that area, because there wasn't anything before. It'd just be like, I'm gonna do music, and then I'm gonna go to Cleveland, then
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to Pittsburgh, or I'm gonna go to Chicago, east or west, and then you'll figure it out, or you're gonna fade into obscurity.
Right.
And I mean, that's just what happens. I mean, that's where I was getting pulled for a while. It was like, all right, I'm in Elyria, Ohio. Or I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna sell tickets in Cleveland. And I ended up in Chicago, and it was just like, and then I was like bouncing back and forth between Chicago and Cleveland for a minute, and it was just like, cool. What are you gonna, where are you gonna end up? So I think it's nice that people are able to see people perform. I had a conversation with a kid just asking me like out there. He was just like, "How did you get into this?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "It's a long story, kid."
Take a seat, and that's where the bio flick. That's where it starts. It starts with you getting off stage, and a voice is like, Eli has to think about his whole life before he explains it to a kid, and then you explain it to like the kid just watches you look down and say one killer line at the end of it, and that's the ending clip would be like you just looking at him and being like, believe in yourself, and just walk away.
Yeah,
And
literally how that ended though. Because like I'm sitting here talking to this kid, like, so what you gotta do is you gotta like find something and then do it, and then like as you keep doing it, people will be like, oh, that's a cool thing you're doing,
Right.
and then people will gravitate towards it, and you'll like work with people to make that cool thing you were doing even cooler, and you just like grow and expand, and there's like a bunch of ups and downs, but like you gotta find a way to just like stay, like keep the ball rolling,
Right.
and then blah blah blah, and then Joey's like, he's a fucking kid, like just
But no, I think that just how you explained it right now is what that kid's gonna, if he's got a thing, he's gonna remember that. You know what I mean? Because not too many adults or adolescents talk to kids as if they aren't kids, as instead of like potential people, they're just kids.
I mean, they are potential people, and that's my
Right,
thing,
that's what I mean.
Because I always think in my head, I was like, I have no fucking clue how to talk to kids. I'll just be like, what's up, little nigga? Like, and then, like, then if you ask me a question, and I'll be like, I'll go too far, and I'll be
Right.
like, I want to be a cop when I want to grow up. And I'll be like, don't do that. And then they'll be like, what? And I'll be like, well, like, cops shoot black people sometimes. Like, there's cool cops out there, but like, I mean, you could do it. It's a double-edged sword. Just be you. Figure yourself. And then, like, they'll be like, and then it's a kid, so they're just like, what's a double-edged sword? I'm like, it's a sword that's,
you can
sharp
have two
on both
swords?
ends. Yeah. I was like, it's a double-edged sword, and you can have two of them, and then it's just, it's a rabbit hole. Yeah, but like, I'll talk to kids. Yeah,
Rabbits live in holes?
I guess so, yeah. Like, I mean, there's some of them that are just free rangers out there chilling, but then they get eaten by wolves. So it's like you either go in the hole or you want to, just be a free range rabbit. But the problem is you got to face the consequences of your actions. Like the way you want to live your life. You can be that whole rabbit, you can be that wild rabbit. That wild rabbit got a lot more ops than that whole rabbit. But that whole rabbit is itself.
Right.
So you got to figure out a way to find a balance between those two. It's like Bugs Bunny. He was out there in the wild, and then when things pressed him, he pressed back. But then he would jump in the hole when things got too hot. You got to figure out, you got to find that rhythm, little homie. And then
It's like, who's Bugs Bunny? You're like,
damn, I'm too old. Like,
How do I reach this?
and just send him a YouTube link of like the old
check
like
this out.
Looney Tunes episodes of him and Elmer Fudd and Daffy and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking. Well, I guess it's good because Space Jam too. Like, there we go. I guess we're still good with that analogy.
I think that and like thinking about it, I do think that Bugs Bunny is a good representation of like adapting.
Right. There's
Like,
definitely a zen to Bugs.
yeah, but also not only adapting with like nature and the course of like how things like work, but like also when random elements are added. Because like there were episodes where it was like, okay, there's Bugs Bunny, then there's Daffy, and there's a Tasmanian Devil, a completely other
What
character.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck is a Tasmanian Devil? He's just crazy as hell. But then like you have one dude that's out to get you, but then you got somebody else that is kind of cool with you, but like they still don't fuck with you because they gotta protect themselves. I don't know, like Bugs Bunny, from my like perspective, even as a kid, I was even just like, this dude like knows how to like figure things out for himself, like
And handle anything he's in.
Yeah, but then like like just going like a step further, think about like his relationship with Daffy, where he's like, all right, this dude is always like, he's jelly, he's always trying to like get over on me. If I want something good, he wants that. And then he's still just like, he lets him be that way.
Yeah.
And never tries to change him. He just, like, there's literally episodes where he's just sitting on the side, like, and just watches them do some dumb shit.
Right.
And then Daffy comes back and he's like, I hate you. He's like, you trying to kick it still or what? Like, yeah. Like,
That's a good point, though. That's a good point. There's something to the character that is stagnant, right? Mm-hmm. Like, there's something zen about someone and I feel like we're all trying to get to that stability, like that to kind of go back stableness. That like, this is who I am. This is how I would handle this crazy Tasmanian Devil or this Daffy Duck character. And you, by being you, the world reacts kind of around you at certain times. Like if you're a certain way. But that takes that self-development, right? That takes that finding that stability of who I am. And then when you get to that point, when certain characters or certain like chemicals or certain whatever reacts to you, you're that solid ground that it either bounces off of, scoots down, goes around. And like I think that's a Bugs Bunny is a good analogy for it. Like I'm into that. I'm into that. Because like no matter what, like the takeaway is what Elmer Fudd does. He gives up, comes back. You know what I mean? Like, but Bugs influences the outside world by not really like doing anything he wouldn't do. This is like that's profound. I mean,
you gotta think like Elmer Fudd is like it's hunting season. So not only is this just like one instance of violence, this is like a consistent
season of violence.
It's gonna come. It's an annual thing.
Shark only has a week.
Yeah, but like it's gonna happen. So instead of Bugs trying to put an end to Elmer Fudd, he lets him pursue him.
Yeah, and
then he lets him set up. Like you gotta think, Bugs Bunny never sets up a trap. Elmer Fudd always sets up a trap.
He falls for it.
He's aware for it, and then he's like, "So what you doing?" Like it's like moments where he just does. He's like, "So, what you doing?" He's like, "Oh," and then.
And how do you, when you look at that like psychologically? Let's take it out of the cartoon realm and take it into like walking into the friend and having that discussion. You know what I mean? When you've reached Bugsitude of like mental, like emotional and mental maturity, where you're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" Like, and like you're kind of friends. Like if they are people that personally try to trigger you into things and like they'll fall into their own trap like that. They
he never pursues, and this is another thing, he never pursues anything outside of him just living his life. If you look at like the course, all those episodes, Like, there's even episodes where like money gets involved, and
Right.
Daffy's like, "Oh my God, we could have all this," and then it's all gone, and Bugs is like,
Eh.
yeah. Like, and like, or like, yeah, like when he's threatened, he's just like, "So that's what you're gonna do?" And then
Yeah.
it like, and then it just unfolds, and he's still fine. Granted, like if somebody holds a gun to you and you're like, "Oh, you're gonna shoot me," and they shoot you, you're like, "Yeah, you're gonna get shot." But like 9 times out of 10, but like in life, if like people are doing something against you,
Yeah.
I think the best thing to do, and I'm learning this because I'm dealing with like conflict all the time,
Yeah.
is just to like sit back and be like, yo, like, all right, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Just like with my water getting spilled on my laptop.
Right.
Like I could be like, oh, well, I'm here to do a show. Like I'm just gonna do what I was gonna do. And just keep it rolling.
But that's it. That takes a long time to get to that mindset, man. That's no easy journey. But the payoff of being able to roll with it and make the best of all the situations, the bugs your way. You know what I mean? The not bug out, but bugs your way through. Like, man.
I'm about to watch Looney Tunes after that.
The next time we're coming back, Martin Martian? Oh, man.
God. I mean, and that's a whole nother thing. Like,
Right.
For his, like, yeah.
He just handles it. He's like, man, I'm on Mars now. You know what I mean? Like, that's still that. Man, I can't think of any like good Martin Martian episodes or intros.
I think the lesson in Martin Martian is always that he's overzealous.
Yeah.
So like he's like, I'm gonna do this, and then it blows up in his face, and he's back at ground one, and he tries again.
Right.
And then he's just, I'm trying to do all this. You were able to do all this stuff, and you're always attacking something, but you're never putting those resources into what you have.
Right. Right. Because he's a Martian. He's got spaceships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, he's always like overshooting his bounds, and I think that's my takeaway from it.
Yeah. What about Wile E. Coyote?
God, this just became a Looney Tunes.
No, I think this. Well, okay, what? But no, now I'm like, nah,
no, yeah,
we'll pin it at Wile E. Coyote, then we'll get back to idiot. But like
obsession. But yeah.
But yeah, and the constant pursuit for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, like think about like a girl that like you have a.
No, it's Pepe Le Pew.
Well, yeah, but I mean, people will Pepe Le Pew. Okay. Well, let's talk about a job then. With Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
If you are at this job, right, and like you wanna move up to a management position,
right.
And like everything around you, like you put forth so much effort, you got all these resources, and you do everything, and it's not panning out for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe that job's just it's not where you're supposed to be. Right. Like the world has a way, and like that's a response. Like that, Wile E. Coyote has that response. Like the world is like, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing, because like I just got fired for defending myself at my job. And it was like, all right, like my boss was like, this sucks. I'm like, yeah, but it's whatever. I'll figure it out. Because like things, you can only progress so far. You can only do so much. If you are a hardworking person and you put a lot of effort into it, if you channel that energy, maybe you're channeling all that energy into the wrong area. And that's the world showing you, all right, you peaked. You got to do something else. You did it. All right, like you can do all this. You used all that to do this, and it was foolish because you weren't supposed to be doing this. There's other things you're supposed to be doing. You have to find that, and that's hard. And that's why you have to consistently try, because you obviously have the tenacity to be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna keep pursuing this one thing. Right. Pursue something else and see where that goes. Well, that he never does that. Yeah. And that's his flaw. They all have flaws. Right. But
it's an archetype, and it's easy to relate that flaw because of that archetype they put up. Who do we got? Anyone else? They're talking about Looney Tunes in the dark. What the fuck's going on?
This is stoner combos. Oh yeah. Yeah, just like, yo, so what?
Fucking the Ninja Turtle. Anyway. Idiot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Back to idiot.
Oh, so yeah, let's see.
So the title, where is that coming from? Is it coming from the track?
No, actually, I came up with the title "Idiot." I think we talked about me and my like naming of things for like series and stuff. Idiot. So the original name for this was Fooly.
Mm.
Um,
Like Fooly Cooly.
nah, I mean
Okay.
yeah, you could because Fooly Cooly is like a play on like romance.
Right.
Um, but I don't know if you like picked up the over like the tone of like my grandparents. You got the cut with
Yes.
like
Yes.
yeah.
So I wanted to ask who that couple was because they were fucking dynamite. They were and like that's your grandparents?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Oh my god.
No.
They seem like the best. Like okay, elaborate. So when was that recorded?
So
At least the tracks in between before we get into the title The Idiot. When was the interview bit with your grandparents recorded?
after I'd like already known what I wanted to talk to them about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like I have like I think like an hour's worth of a conversation
That's awesome.
of conversations with them. Because I was trying to visit my grandma, my family, like
Are they in
every
Florida?
now and then. No, they're here.
Okay.
I try to like visit people occasionally, or like I call and like to talk to people. I try to like get into that rotation. But like especially like for my grandparents. And I just asked, I was like, can we have a conversation and it's mostly you talking, but like about like love and like what it means to be in love, how you grow and develop, and like experiences that y'all had. And we talked about that stuff. There's like little snippets in there where like I like say something. I think we cut them out for the most part because I didn't really want my voice to be in
Right.
those.
Your voice
but
is in the music.
yeah, so it was just like, and then we had like ran through like all the audio that I gathered from talking in the backyard with them, because they love to share stories and stuff like that. Um, like there's that one bit in there where my grandma's talking about, yeah, like, oh, I'm trying to exactly remember where this came from. Oh, doing something to show that you care, and then if you actually love somebody, you know, you'll find yourself just always thinking about them.
Right.
And like you know, like you'll do something, and like my grandfather comes in a part. Like I said, I can't fully remember if that whole clip's in there, but he was like, yeah, you know, I see something, and I'd be like, oh, that's she like this, she like that. Oh, she wouldn't like that. Blah blah blah. Like you find yourself, your taste in things, you know, go with that person and what you
Right.
understand about them. But yeah, like we just had like long conversations about like love, um, and growth, like with someone else, because that's what the project um, focuses on. So yeah, like Fully was like this whole play on like, you know, this is a fool in love, and
Mm.
I think about this whole old Hey Arnold thing all the time.
Yeah.
And it was like, why do fools fall in love? And it's a song. It's a song reference.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a song. I know it's a song reference, but I think it's also a movie reference.
Okay.
But like it just stuck in my head. I was like, if I'm gonna write a project about love and growing with somebody and like what those feelings are for me personally, I want to like create that type of narrative. And I thought Idiot was like a better staple over it. It's like very bold because it's like, why is it called Idiot?
Right.
And draws into a lot of things, but it's you're foolish when you're in love or
Right.
something like that, and that's why it's drawn to that. And I just think it encapsulates like, you know, you're going into something blind, you're almost stupid, you know. So being foolish kind of goes with it.
No, it makes sense. Did you drop out?
The live stream, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. It. So the besides like the tracks, that's my favorite bit of this record is your grandparents in the middle, and I'm even more excited to know that it's your grandparents because like, you know what I mean, like what they say is so profound, or the bits you take out of what they said in this is really like the bit like where your grandma's like, you can't fall in love with someone by just looking at
Oh
them.
yeah, it's not love, it's
It's
lust.
lust, and you know she means it because she spells out the word. You know what I mean? Like, you know when someone spells out the word, they're saying they mean.
L-U-S-T,
Yeah,
lust.
that's such. It's so good. It's so in it, how those bits weave the narrative of self growth, and like, cause it seems like I don't know if you were going through a particular relationship at the time, but there's touches upon it. Like there's that one track that's kind of like a 1-6-4-5, like an old like Earth Angel type song. It's like those chords, but I know there's like this longing within it, but also like this self reflection when you get to the track that's like, um, I don't have a problem, and there's a female voice singing with you. Who is that?
Oh god, I can't even remember.
Okay, I
It's
thought
on
maybe it might be Maggie.
Nah,
Because I remember you
Maggie
guys.
was Maggie was the original in that, and then we kept. Well, no, she was the alternate, just in
Okay.
case we decided to change out. 'Cause
Switch it.
it was an old, like I said, this is like
This-
2 year.
right.
Actually, what's crazy is No Problems was originally on Only Human.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got cut, and then we revisited it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you did because it's a dope track, and I think it fits the narrative of this like self reflection and trying to find this self growth, and like that's awesome.
Yeah, like adding the sax and everything to it was like a whole new it was a new step. Like when we like redid it, it was like all right, let's do it. And then it was a lot of back and forth on that one. But yeah, it was like nah, this one has to be on it because even like in remaking it, it was like nah, we shouldn't do this. And then it was like oh well, da da da. I was like well, let's just put let's get the bass done, get some sax, some trumpet on there, get some solos running, and then we'll mess with the vocal, piece by piece, we'll get it together. But yeah, no problems. It like fit perfectly, and then there's like shame and no problems went together for me.
Yeah.
Like, in
Yeah.
my head.
Well, it's interesting that the shame, just the titles by themselves, shame and no problems. Well, first there's shame, then there's no problems, or are the problems because of the shame? Yeah, I mean, like this is. I mean, this is a. I mean, it's not even piecing the music together, just title wise. But
So I think I'm doing this early, but like these are all like things that run through my head in a
Yeah.
relationship. So like it's all like like this and like all these song titles are just like ideas or feelings while I'm like or like infatuated with somebody. These are all like different things, like from arguments to the questioning to the part of you makes me sick.
yeah,
Like not getting caught up.
the idea of like pushing someone's buttons.
Yeah, being like the separation thing. Like there's all types of stuff. So yeah, like I tried to like give every track like a note of that. I'm in there.
Okay, that makes sense. No, and like, and then to have like your grandparents' voices like ringing through your head because I don't know. That's something I always think about. Like when you're with someone in a relationship, it's kind of like, well, are you gonna fit in with the rest of the family? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of to some degree that's gonna be the scale. Can you hang out with them and like even though it's your choice when it comes down to it, like you take all these words of wisdom from your parents and your grandparents and like finding someone like that and now that you explain it like that this makes this record even cooler. Like now it's the concept of it being like you have this voice of your elders telling you what to look out for, and then your emotion, your feelings in between. That's fucking cool, man. That's really fucking cool. God, oh man, that's like, was that like the kind of like piecing this together like that? Was that the narrative that was kind of
Yeah.
sought out that you wanted?
Like I said, the original idea was to make an album about my perception of like love. So that was the
Right.
base,
Okay.
and that was what a lot of the writing was. And as I like I spent time with like each song and like the lyrics and putting them together. I was like, how do I want to get this across?
Right.
And then it was like, okay, this is how. I was like, I want like 3 to 5 interludes. And I looked at the track list and I was like, okay, 3 and we'll separate it like this. I was like, so what is it gonna be? And I was like, am I gonna reintroduce Mohawk Johnson on Brain Dead Radio? Am I going to am I gonna do something more personal? I like sat with it for about a week, and I was like, okay, just thinking about it. I was like, what is something that love? What is something you think about? And I'm like, family. So then I was like, okay, I want to build something with this person, and that's where the growth aspect comes in.
Right.
I was like, okay, think about like conversations with my grandma, and I'd be like, oh, why don't I just do that? Like, add that personal aspect of my life to my music, and then like I just had a regular conversation like we would, and I just recorded it, and then pieced it together based on like the context of what I was talking about in each section. And then was like, okay, this is this. Like transform. So like, these are all like traits and stuff that go into there's 2 tracks. These are like the negative end of the spectrum where it's like separation and like the troubles that come with it. And then you go to impressions, and you can be like controlling, and then he's like, you make me feel something. That's what Pulse is about. I know it's like hope, and like each one touches back on the first narrative, and like Idiot still has that, like that impression thing, like feeling that I cannot describe, but we on a rise. It's that first like interaction, and then you go to common ground, and then it's sick intros you to like, oh, okay, like you can make me so irritated, but like, it's difficult for me to get away from this.
That's the track with like kind of pushing the glutton to push the button. I can't remember exactly how you phrased it, but it stuck out in my mind.
Makes me sick. So sick. I want to get lit. Really hard to let go. Wait.
Or did I mix it up?
No. I think I know what you're trying to get to.
Yeah.
I got very little time for regret. The thought of you is pain, but honestly, I love to forget. A distant memory is killing me, but time be the gun. Drift away and shoot my shot, thinking she be the one. I be so fully with emotion, got me goofy with devotion, digging so deep in my bag, got me swimming in this ocean of doubt. Try to pull it all together, but your love take me out. And I got way too much to do, so the best route's to bounce. So sick. So glutton to push button, I don't know. I think that's a different song.
That's a different song, but still, that was dope.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's a preview. It was at the it was like the very first line. Like, fuck, I haven't been looking at my phone at all for notes. I've just been like trying to figure out what fucking Bugs Bunny's main role is. I guess it doesn't even matter because it's the narrative of what it is now. Like, or just hearing the intent with it. I think. Now, when you wrote it, like, now it seems like the conversations I think are the spice to really seal the narrative. But like, when you're writing it, are you writing like lyrical content first and then finding music to put it to? Are you just making music and finding I mean, this is a question for everyone. What comes first, music or the words? But like in this context, it's interesting because there's a lot of specific parts. Mm-hmm. It's not just like something you write right away. Does that make sense? Like I don't believe in like someone just writes something so specifically with all these movements and changes from the rip. I imagine it comes in even from our earlier conversation or earlier point in this conversation that Control's gone through all these different changes from that first time. So like, is it bringing it to somebody? The music, the song shifts and has different beats, or does it come together like pretty much?
We laid the bass down for like what it would sound like originally, and there's like a part of it that stays the same in production, and then it's like, all right, here's what it sounds like. It's like, all right, cool. Here's let me write to this. So yeah, music.
Okay.
For this one, each project's different.
Right.
I might have ideas. I think I do like, even like if I'm self-producing, it's like, I produce like the beat comes first, then the lyrics. I have a concept in my mind as I'm like making the sound, but it's like, this is what I want to tackle. let's make the sound, let's add the vocals,
Makes sense.
and then edit it as they merge together, and then pick up like, oh, I want more of this, I want less of that, I want to add this, I want to take away that, so that has room to breathe. And yeah.
Okay. No, that makes sense. Like I don't know. Like when I think about when I write, like I kind of write the whole thing, just maybe not at once, but I'll come up with the music basis first before I put anything on it, so I know the contour of what the melody is going to follow, and then try to develop the narrative once the melody exists and over the whatever it's going to be sung over. Which made me think like you guys you have a song called Never Knows Best.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Sea Level, I think right when we recorded one, right when you put yours out. So like now we got a Fooly Cooly reference on two ends.
Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah.
It probably won't do. It probably won't do as well as yours for sure. But
Yo, that was so weird how it took off. I was like,
that's fucking dope, man. It's a cool song. Like,
no, because I remember pitching it to Wes.
oh
like,
yeah,
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 and
yeah.
it was just like, I don't know. I always feel like nobody ever cares about my music, so I'm just like, oh, I worked hard on this thing.
yeah. Well, it's
Here's this, and then
yeah,
like
yeah,
for months, like the project came out, and it was probably like one of my like, Party with My Demons was probably one of my best received projects like in the beginning. That's
Yeah.
like kind of what like got like open doors for me. But like for a year or two, like it was just gradual growth, and then out of nowhere, people just started. I guess people started finding themselves listening to that song more and more.
yeah.
And it just skyrocketed. And I was like, oh, what the fuck?
Has it kept up, or has it still been
It's
just
still. I have a solid. I don't know what that is, but it has that song has its own like.
life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like out in my catalog, where it's just like. People,
Fuck it.
yeah,
That's
like, people
cool.
like know me for that song.
Right. That's
Um,
awesome.
And then it was a challenge getting people to be like, hey, and I think because it picked up around the time I was dropping into the world, like right before, and then like it, so it was hard for it turned some people who got hip to me in that song into fans.
Right.
So like they were like, oh, what is this? And then they go look at my other stuff, and then With You picked up traction.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, this is really different. These are two completely different songs.
Yeah.
And like I had people messaging me or be like, yo, you're crazy talented, blah, 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 blah. Like, and it's like people from like all over the place being like, oh, you're this, that, and the other. I was like, thanks so much, I appreciate it. But I felt like, and I'm glad it happened the way it did, like it picked up its own traction the way it
Yeah.
did, because in between, if I would have got the hype for Never Knows Best, I had like beats and stuff that were around that like sound.
Mhm.
So if I knew that worked, I could have kept up with that.
Right.
And then did that, but instead I found myself exploring things more and finding what works. So
That's cool because
Yeah.
it's what works for you.
yeah,
You know, it's where you need to express. Kind of on the concept of all over the place. When did you start working with Wes? Was that Blank Slate days? Blank Slate connection for Wes Meadows?
yeah, I think Blank Slate and Flower Pot Records like go hand in hand.
Because I just saw. So are you signed with Flower Pot as of today? I saw you post something about
I'm
that.
not signed to
Yeah.
anything. I have like
Well said.
distribution deals.
Okay.
With like different labels like Vinyl Digital. I think my main thing, I had a distribution deal with Birdhouse.
Nice.
And I like
Yeah.
pushed back just because I'm not a fan of the person running that label.
Not nice.
Yeah. But Vinyl Digital like treats me like really well. The rep that I work with for releases is nice to me. They promote it and they're always helpful. They're willing to like when Think of You came out, I had the idea to like have since my like German fan base was like growing, and they're based in Germany.
Yeah.
I was like, well, let's just do the subtitles in German.
Nice.
And they helped make sure I had a thorough translation and
All right.
did
That's
all that.
badass.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was good. They've been extremely helpful and was a great uh, entity to work with. And I probably will still work with them in the coming years too. And then Flower Pot is local, and I want to like work with local stuff.
Mhm.
I think like a I definitely have a transatlantic appeal, but yeah, I have like an international appeal as an artist, just based off of like my followers and listeners. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like people from all over to listen to me. It's like a small following. It's like I'm a niche artist,
Yeah.
but like people from all over, like the U.S. to Germany to the U.K. to Sweden to Mexico to parts of South America. Like, it's a melting pot, and it's hard to like focus on one.
Yeah.
But I think like living in reality is helping me more than the internet.
That makes sense. Because, like, you know what I mean? Because, like, internet numbers could be one thing compared to, like, the people who show up to the show. Even just, like, with a Facebook event. You know what I mean? Like, if you boil it down, 30 people are coming. Probably 15. You know what I mean? Like, out of
If
that.
yeah. And then it's like people, I mean, I'm guilty of this. Like, I was like anxious about my show because I was like, I have a very wide following.
Yeah.
And I don't put a lot of energy into Cleveland like that.
Right.
So like it's something I need to work on, but it's like every time like I've like done things in the area, it just doesn't make sense. But then like the moment the internet catches that, they're like, "Oh, this is great."
Yeah.
And
that's weird. It's weird when it works because that niche of people's everywhere. You know what I mean? Like that niche, like Little Italy in Cleveland is a street, but Italy's a whole country. You know what I mean? Like
right.
somewhere else, and there's Little Italy's everywhere. As far as, but you know what I mean? Like, so that it's interesting. Like, do you find the same with Chicago, or like is it different in that way?
I connect with. I don't know why it is, but I find myself as an artist and a person connecting with more people in Chicago than I do in Cleveland. I feel like a lot of people in Cleveland respect me as an artist, but when it comes down to like friendships or like anything on a personal aspect, I have a very hard time relating to a lot of people. Like me and Casey get along really well. But Casey's not from Cleveland.
Yeah.
And doesn't live here anymore as well.
Where's he at now?
Texas.
He's in Texas?
Yeah, he's from Texas.
I didn't know he was from Texas. All right. I guess I'm not surprised, but, you know. Yeah, like, Casey's a shit, man.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. We can't book Tender Slap anytime soon.
Yeah, but it's like everybody's, like, doing stuff. And it's like I have, like, dope friends or, like, great associates in music. I can sit down and, like, me and you could chop it up and talk about stuff. Or like the homies in V Trigger or Iron Bison. Like, I can talk to like a bunch of bands and be cool. But like that personal aspect of stuff is like a whole nother thing where it's like, you know, hang out. But then again, like we're adults.
Yeah.
We're all doing our own thing. And especially if you're in music, like you're just trying to get ahead in that. So it's like finding like what is actually real. And I think like even dating in Cleveland is like weird versus like in Chicago. So
I have never dated anyone from Chicago, so I'll agree with that blindly, but like but I agree. It's you know, it's musically like everyone's doing something. You know what I mean? If they're not playing a show, they don't really have time to come to yours. You know what I mean? Or they're working on something on their own. And like as a musician or as a creator, you kind of respect that. And you're like, oh, okay, cool. It's fine. I guess we don't have to hang out. But it's a bummer. You know, what I mean, you have all these cool friends that are doing cool shit, but you can't hang out with them.
Right. I think that you have to love and appreciate like what's thrown out there.
Right.
So like if somebody doesn't show up to one of your shows, if you don't get a good turnout for a show, it's nobody
Right.
else's fault but your own. Um,
Well, and
like,
it's not your fault if there's a snowstorm. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, that
there's
too.
there's external factors.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. But I mean, like, if there's a perfect day out and nobody's at your show, it's because you didn't do enough of an outreach in that region.
Right.
And you have to figure out what an outreach is. You have to make sure that makes sense for you. You have to get your brand
Yeah.
across to that region.
Right.
And I think that's where my personal disconnect is, because a lot of people that I've met, there are some dope people in Cleveland, but there's a mass market of people who are very one-dimensional.
Yeah.
And they're just like, this is this, and that's it. If you're not doing like these big things, you're not doing nothing.
Yeah. Like
And,
people that. What do you mean by the big things? Like.
so in hip hop, the biggest festivals in Cleveland would be like EST Fest
Okay.
and Summer Jam.
Yeah.
So, in respect, or if you're not opening up for
Somebody.
J. Cole or
Yeah.
Big Sean or one of the another thing, like the big rappers don't even come to Cleveland.
Right. That's weird.
Like,
Yeah.
when have you seen Drake in Cleveland, or
Yeah.
like even seen like a bill where Drake is coming to Cleveland?
Right.
No. When have you seen a bill where Tyler the Creator is actually playing in Cleveland? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
at his peak right now.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Last time I think he was in Pittsburgh. Okay. Yeah. It was Columbus.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I thought it was Pittsburgh, but
But like,
same.
like big artists don't come to Cleveland. Like, they'll pass through,
Right.
but they won't play a show here. They'll catch a Cavs game, but
Yeah.
they won't do it. Like, that's why Bone Thugs is like, and I'm probably throwing shade or something right now, but it's like Bone Thugs outside of Cleveland, nobody's thinking about Bone Thugs like that. A
Yeah.
couple like New York like hipsters and like hip hop heads
Yeah.
definitely like, oh yeah, Bone Thugs, blah 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 blah. They're in the area, but like then there's some people who hold on to it, but Bone Thugs isn't normally in a conversation if I'm talking about rap.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people I can mention. I could be like, oh, what's your favorite Bone Thugs song? And some people like,
Oh, the Crossroads. Like.
they wouldn't even say that. It's the thuggish ruggish bone. And
Yeah.
they'll say a part of it, but
Yeah.
they won't know the song like that.
Right.
It's because you're in Cleveland you care about Bone Thugs,
Yeah.
which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like that mentality where like Cleveland is the only thing that exists is a real thing for some people out here.
Yeah.
Where like, and then you have me where it's just like, I'm like, later, like when we talked last year, oh yeah, I'm supposed to do a tour in Europe.
What?
And then it's like,
World shut down.
you can go there?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just like you can go there. Yeah, I can do music like I do here in
Yeah.
a different place. It's crazy. But like there are people who like, oh, you think you're better, or oh, you think, well, like no, I just utilized opportunities because
Right.
people saw potential in me, and it was like, are you getting that where you're at? And I'm like, nah, like, come out here for a little bit and see what it's like, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's
Like-
cool. And like, I think maybe why that sounds so like, impossible to believe for some people is like, well, yo, booking a show in like Chicago, if you're trying to play out there the first time sucks. How do you do that? You know what I mean? Like to do it out of America, you know what I mean? That's a whole nother level of like, whoa, how are you doing that? Yeah, but as me personally, that'd be my question. Like, who'd you shake hands with, like digitally, or like, what email did you send? Because like, man, when I try to book like a mini tour, I fight for months trying to even get a spot, and then you have to build the bill. But that's part of the bit.
Yeah, if you have a bill, and another thing that helps you out a lot, if you have a bill to just give a venue,
Oh
you're
yeah,
more
yeah,
likely to just take it. Be like, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or especially there's a trick I use, and I'm exposing tricks in my trade. I'll look at a venue
Mm-hmm.
and I'll look at their bills previously,
Yeah.
and then I'll contact those bands,
Okay.
and then I'll like get in, go, yo, love your stuff, blah 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 blah. Just thinking about going out that way. Would love to like have you as support or blah blah blah. I just talk to the
Yeah,
band
yeah.
regularly, and some of them will respond, some of them won't. But once you build that roster in the background, and you build a good reputation, they listen to your stuff, you build that relationship with them,
Right.
then you can start like pitching the venues like, hey, I want to open up with them. And they're like, oh yeah, they played here a couple weeks ago.
I know them. I know what they'll draw.
Yeah,
I'm comfortable
I know.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
boom. So and then Facebook's great because you can look at who went to the event
Right.
or who said going. And if it's a big one, try to get that band on your bill because they're more likely to book them.
Right.
That gets your foot in the door. So then if you do your end and you sell tickets or whatever the case, if you have a show that's great, you have support, and you do that, and people enjoy your music, and the promoters see that,
You get called back for
yeah,
sure.
like, hey,
yeah.
anytime you want to come in, go do that, and
Yeah.
keep doing that.
Which, easy enough. Figure it out, kid. Believe in yourself. But no, I agree, and I think that's an excellent strategy. There's a million ways to do it, but like, I think that's a good one. We got really off topic from the album, but I love it. I love it. Another to kind of jump back to the record, the bit about finding flowers from the cemetery from your grandpa, and
Yeah,
giving to
yeah,
your
yeah.
grandma. That shit was awesome. But I guess so. I think when's the show? Can you hear me all right? Or
Yeah,
can you hear
October
yourself
2nd.
fine?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. October 2nd.
October 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
And it's at Mahal's. What else do you have coming out? I think now would be a good time to do a plug hole. Is there other stuff for this record?
There's a Halloween party
Okay.
that hasn't officially been announced yet.
When
October 22nd.
When's that
in
going to be announced?
Cleveland, after the release party.
Okay.
So it'll be like 20 days before. But
All right. This will be a preview warning then.
Yeah.
I want to get this out before your release party. Is that cool? Is that what you thinking?
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, that's
All
fun. Yeah, and then I'm playing at DZ Fest on the 26th.
Okay.
25th, sorry. The project is streamable on the 26th.
Yeah.
Got them first week streams.
Yeah. For real. What about? So you got a bunch of stuff in the can, a bunch of stuff recorded.
Yeah.
Like, what do you is this stuff to be projected out anytime soon?
2022.
2022.
I'm pretty much done with 2021. This album is like what I'm gonna write out.
Yeah.
For the year, and then there's definitely been people asking me to like do stuff. I'm like featured on 2 projects that I know of. Yeah. I've been in the cut a lot. I've just been
That's
like
awesome.
doing like some stuff here and there. People ask me to do hooks, and yeah, as soon as they like lock
Nice.
in their deposit and stuff, I'm set.
Is there anyone you can share? Anything that's ready to go, or just keep on the DL for
The only one that I've done officially that's out
Yeah.
is Don Stroh, which is my bass's rap
Okay.
thing.
Cool.
But yeah, not what I did a feature verse on that, which is rare. 9 times out of 10, people hit me up for like hooks.
Yeah.
So
It makes sense, man. This album's hooky as fuck. Like, Idiot is definitely catchy, and like the narrative of it, like, man, and I think, dude, this is I dig the fuck out of this record. I'm really excited for everyone else to hear it. Like, I was super stoked to get the preview cut early. Not super stoked that they have to click every track, but
oh, to listen, yeah,
yeah,
so you
in the
just play it
fucking
straight through.
Dropbox can shove off. But but it's gonna be. I'm excited for you to share it, my friend. I think this is a good point to cap it. We've been at it for like 2 hours.
Yeah,
We got into the philosophical points of Looney Tunes,
Tunes for sure. Yeah.
and yeah. Well, I can't wait for round 4 when we do this again for 2022.
2022 or 2023.
Whatever, hit me up. We'll do it.
Yeah, unless you want to. Yeah, I think 2022 is going to be a very experimental year for me. I
Yeah.
think.
All right.
But yeah.
Cool. Oh man, I think I had one more thought on Idiot before we wrap it. before we officially wrap
Check
it.
your notes.
At this point, I've gone through all the notes I wanted to go through, but this is just like last minute listening thoughts. It doesn't matter. Eli, thanks for hanging, man. This has been awesome.
Yeah, good hanging out with you too. Take care.